Hello, fellow scholars and teachers. I'm Brady, and you're here with another talk with Teacher Brady. What's up, guys? I'm Brady, and I'm here to tell you about 4 things that I wish I knew before I started teaching. So, I've been teaching in Vietnam for about 8 years now, and so far I really love it, and I'm not planning to go anywhere. Actually, I'm taking on more, and I want to do more with teaching. And so, this video and this series is going to be about me sharing and documenting my journey through studying and teaching and working in educational business. And so this is my first video, and I'm excited to share what I have to say. So without further ado, let's go. So this is 4 things I wish I knew before I started teaching. Number one is, okay, I'll be really honest with you. When I was in school, I didn't like school very much. I had a lot of really nice teachers and we did a lot of nice things, but in general, there was a lot of drama, a lot of wasted time, a lot of this, a lot of that, and a lot of homework. And so I didn't really like it. So that affected my teaching approach. I tried to make it more funny, more games, more but that didn't really work. And students ended up not learning that much. And also their behavior became worse and worse over time, probably because they weren't working on educative things and they were just playing games. And so the number one thing I wish I knew is that kids love learning. All my students, almost all my students love learning, really love learning. They love challenges and they love doing simple things when they know that they are improving some skill. And so, yeah, it's taken me 8 years now, but now I approach my lessons much differently. I approach the lessons from the point of view that the students like learning, they love learning, and as long as I design the activity that's relevant for them, it engages them in an appropriate way, and it's challenging, but it's not so hard that they don't know what to do. They actually enjoy doing it. And so designing activities is a lot more fun for me, and the activities are more fun for the students. So that's the thing I wish I knew the most before I started teaching, or I had changed my mind. But number two is also important. So when I went to school, most of my class was just white. We had a few colored people in America, but in general, it was pretty much quite the same. And this was 1995 into 2012. So generally wasn't too diverse, but halfway a world away in Vietnam. And even in my classrooms, I have some American students, some French students. It's more diverse than when I went to school. And so ethnically, classrooms see a lot more diversity than they used to see. But these changes aren't only in diversity. As you guys may know, technology is changing so rapidly. And even though traditionally it hasn't affected education so much, I believe in the next 10 years it really has the potential. And so, with AI, personalized tutors, differentiation strategies, technology is going to change a lot within education. And one that excites me, but it also terrifies me a little bit because, yeah, it could be used in a bad way, or hopefully it can be used for the benefit of our students. And my feeling is that most educators will go a little bit slow with new technology, but yeah, some are gonna try and do it. And so we'll talk more about technology in more episodes later. So now, the third thing that I wish I knew before I started teaching is how important objectives are. Objectives will set the tone of the rest of the lesson. And so these are something that I wish I had mastered as a new teacher. I wish I mastered creating objectives, presenting the objectives, assessing my students against the objectives. I wish I spent a lot of time doing that because it would have helped lesson planning a lot more in those early couple of years. And so yeah, objectives are super critical and they don't have to be so hard. Once you know how to do them, they're actually quite easy. But why are they so critical? Well, if you get your clear objectives first, then the activities that are in your lesson will just support those objectives. They will actually just get the students to meet those objectives with assessment opportunities, probably data collection opportunities, and student peer and self-assessment opportunities. And so I always present my objectives as pretty much the second slide, unless there's an activity. But early on in the class, my students are reading them. For my age group, I use I can statements, which I think it's good for the students because they get empowered by this. So, anyways, we can talk forever about objectives, but really, I want to say this is I wish I spent more time perfecting objectives in the early years of teaching. So that way I could get beyond, I could get into my lesson planning much quicker. And so now that I'm rounding the last half year of my master's degree, I'm now realize why we talk so much about objectives, how to set objectives. And so I'm here to share some of my tips, my strategies, and what I've learned with you. So stay tuned for a future episode with that. And so, to connect all the things together that I've already talked about, the fourth thing that I wish I knew before I started teaching is that making your own resources is actually not that hard. And it actually probably saves you some time, even though it can take some time. So, here's what I mean. When I first started teaching, I was always on the hunt for the best materials, the best curriculum, slideshows, games, this, that. And while there's a ton out there, uh, in reality, most of the ones that I found, they don't target the skills, the language, they're not relevant. So I ended up wasting a lot of time finding worksheets that are just mediocre. And so I use Canva and other tools to just create my own worksheets, presentation, templates, activities such as like puzzles where they have half a sentence, they have to match things together. You name it, I can make it in Canva, and I do. And I found that instead of spending any time looking for things, I go to the course book, I see what the kids need to learn, and I think about how can I make something in Canva that really brings that activity to life for my students while still getting them to meet those objectives. And so making your own resources doesn't have to be hard. It can make more relevant and more targeted activities in your lesson. And in those activities, they can actually get your students to meet the objectives that we are setting. And so I really wish that I had spent more time learning how to make resources early on rather than trying to look for it all. And I think if I had done that, I would have got a better rhythm of teaching early on, and I would have seen how the students perceive different things rather than just guessing at what they might need, you know? And so it's been a journey. So to summarize, there are four things that I wish I knew before I started teaching. Number one, I wish I knew that kids like learning. Number two, I wish I knew that the landscape of teaching is changing drastically. Number three, I wish I knew how important objectives and objective setting was for lesson planning and student outcomes. And number four is that I wish I knew that making my own resources was more time saving and easier than trying to find the perfect resources out there. So there you have it. So thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Again, my name is Brady. I am almost done with my Master's of Education, and I'm working on getting my teaching credential from America. I'm currently teaching in Vietnam in a bilingual school and looking to move up to possibly working in an international school. And so I'm sharing tips on how to streamline and how to maximize your work as a teacher, how to stay motivated as a teacher, how to overcome difficult classes, and how to design lessons that are engaging for all students. And so if you like that content, please like, subscribe, even share the video with another teacher you know, and tune in next week for our next video. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you all again.